Our world is filled with all these wicked problems, but how do we know where to start when trying to solve them? Our special guide for solving problems is called design thinking. Now, design thinking is this fun, iterative approach where you get to understand humans and their behaviors and really try to look into their underlying motivations and needs. It is a great technique for discovering complex and unknown problems. Design thinking is broken down into 6 different cyclical steps. So first, empathy, define, ideate, prototype, test, and iteration. In this module, we're going to give you an overview of the design thinking process. But honestly, the best way to learn design thinking is by going out there and doing it on your own. So we're going to walk you through a design thinking activity. But first, let's dig deeper into each phase. Empathy is the first phase in design thinking. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes to try to understand life from their perspective. In this phase, we observe and interview people in order to try to gain heaps of information about our end users. From gathering this information, we start to learn about their motivations, their needs, and their pain points, which are their problems. Empathy is important in design thinking because it helps us get rid of our personal biases and helps us customize a solution for our end user's problem. We have to remember that what works best for us isn't always what's best for other people. Now let's learn about a persona, which is a summary of all the main findings from our observations and interviews. We turn all this information into one person. And throughout the design thinking process, our goal is to design the best solution for this specific person. So let's pretend we just finished all of our observations and our interviews and we created our first persona. In this example, our persona is going to be called Lily. We'll use Lily as a guide in our define phase. In the define phase, we analyze all of our findings and use them to discover the underlying problem of our persona. Defining a problem is one of the most difficult parts in design thinking. The success of our project relies on defining the right problem to solve. Looking at Lily, we can see some of her main motivations are being a good parent and making sure her kids are happy and on time for all of their extracurricular activities. Also, Lily needs to be more efficient with her time because she wants more time for herself. She also wastes a lot of her day sitting in traffic, and she spends a lot of money on gas. Now we're going to use all this information to fill out a formula for our point of view statement, which is also known as a problem statement. This statement helps us organize who we're solving for, what their motivations and needs are, and an insight that we can gather from all of our findings. Based on Lily's persona, we can make the insight that Lily's kids get very upset with her when she's late to picking them up from their extracurricular activities. So now let's define our problem. So our user Lily needs a more efficient method to get her children to their extracurricular activities on time because she wastes a lot of her day being stuck in traffic and her kids get upset and take their anger out on her when they are late. So now we get into this crazy phase called ideation. In ideation, you roll up your sleeves, you jump outside of your comfort zone, you take some risks, and you come up with the wildest ideas. However, when we're in a group setting, it's very common to be very risk adverse because we're really scared of being judged by others, and we don't really want to jump outside of our comfort zone. But in reality, the best ideas and innovations come when we take risks. So here's a list of some important rules to follow during the ideation phase. We'll put these rules in the PDF at the end of the module. These rules help create a productive and safe environment when coming up with ideas. So now we're going to start the ideation phase around our point of view statement. A common technique in ideation is reframing the statement into a question. And we're going to reframe this question into a how might we question. This phase allows us to rephrase the problem into a way that allows us to generate new ideas about something without a concrete answer. So now I'm going to change my POV statement into a how might we question. So how might we help Lily find a way to be more efficient with her time and appease her children by getting them to their extracurricular activities on time? So check out some of my ideas. So my first idea is, let's create an app where families can link their children's schedules so they can organize and sign up for drop-off and pickup times for their kids. My second idea is to create tolls for using streets and motorways around the city. The price of the toll depends on how many people are in your car. So if there are more people in your car, then you pay less because you're helping reduce the traffic. My third idea is a carpool service app that links you with other kids going to the same places, and it drops all of you off at a reduced price. So now we're going to take one of these ideas and begin prototyping it. In the prototyping phase, we create a visual representation of our idea. So we could use any sort of materials like pen, paper, pencil, cardboard, storyboard, Play-Doh, any sort of thing you can get your hands on, that's what you can use to prototype. Prototypes help bring our ideas to life, and they allow us to test them in front of our end users to see if it actually could work. They can be very basic and messy. Just remember, they're not a final product. They're just a visual representation of your idea. So here's my prototype for our carpooling app. So what you'll do is, you'll type in your pickup address and you'll type in your destination address. When that happens, it'll tell you how much it costs and what's the pickup time. For in this example, it takes 5 minutes for the car to pick you up. So if you're looking over here, this is the other part of the prototype. And as you can see, it'll show you the location of the car and all the different kids that are getting picked up before you reach your final destination. After finishing prototyping, we begin the testing phase. And in this phase, we present our prototype to our users and try to get some feedback from them. Now it's important to remember, we're not testing our users, we're actually testing our physical prototype. This means you should let your users know that there's no right or wrong answer on how they interact with your prototype. When you receive feedback, you should be quiet and allow your user to ask as many questions as possible, because this will help you gather a lot of good insights. So a simple way to conduct testing is to ask your users, what do you like about my prototype? And what do you think could be improved? So I tested my prototype with some users, and they told me they liked the map feature because it shows you the current location of the car, shows your pickup location, and it shows you the route it's taking to the final destination. So in regards to what they want me to improve, the main thing is having some sort of background check on the drivers. As a parent, they want their kids to be as safe as possible, so if they know who's driving the car, they'll be a lot more comfortable. Now in the last phase, called iteration, we take the feedback from the testing phase and make some updates to our prototype. So based on the feedback, I made the following updates to my prototype. So we're adding the driver name and the driver rating, so we know who's picking you up and their experience. And we also have a place that says they completed a background check. And hopefully these features will help make parents more comfortable when their kids are using this service. Now in a matter of minutes, you've seen the design thinking process come to life. We started with a persona, and now we have a real life prototype that we could use to solve a problem. Design thinking is a rapid and fun process that really provides structure to complex problem solving. Now let's try out an activity on your own.